Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for the Tech Guy is provided by CacheFly. CacheFly.com. Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the Premier Networks on Sunday, August 14th, 2016. This is episode 1314. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast is brought to you by Rocket Mortgage from Quicken Loans. Rocket Mortgage brings the mortgage process into the 21st century with a fast, easy, and completely online process. Check out Rocket Mortgage today at quickenloans.com/techguy. And by ZipRecruiter. Are you hiring? With ZipRecruiter.com, you can post to 100-plus job sites, including social networks, all with a single click. Screen, rate, and hire the right candidates fast. Try ZipRecruiter free at ZipRecruiter.com/techguy. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smartwatches. Sold American, actually sold from China. 8888 Ask Leo is the phone number. 888-827-5536. That's toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. We have listeners all over the country, I know. Really, we have listeners all over the world thanks to the internet. So if you're calling from outside of U.S. and Canada, you can use Skype to reach us. We have a website too, techguylabs.com. Techguylabs.com. And there's a great chat room, irc.twit.tv. You can use the web interface at that address, irc.twit.tv, TWIT, twit.tv. Or you can use an IRC client because it's an old-fashioned way of chatting. In the days before WhatsApp and Snapchat, we had IRC, and we still use it. I've been using that during the radio show since 92. So 24 years. And an IRC is much older than that. It's been around for a long time. And it's a great place to go if you want to kind of be the kids in the back of the class. Help me out, too, because really this is kind of a user group. This is kind of more than just me gassing on about what's happening in technology. People call with questions, and we talk about that. And chat room's already like a buzz, trying to help somebody get his Dell system working. And he's trying to upgrade to Windows 10. Have you done the Windows 10 upgrade thing? It's too late to do the free one, I think, although people keep reporting that, well, it kind of worked. So I wouldn't, if you haven't done it and you still want Windows 10, it might be worth a try. If you have a Windows 7 or 8 serial number, apparently they're still allowing you free activation. Interesting. I guess, is there any way to try before you buy, try it without actually installing it? Maybe if you ran you could go to download the Windows 10 installer from Microsoft.com. They actually offer one. Go through the process. At some point, it'll probably ask you for a serial number. You enter that serial number in. Yeah, I guess you can't really tell if it's going to accept it till it's over. What's the worst thing that can happen? Well, you could owe them $120. And then you could still roll back. You could still say, nah, I want to go back to my old version. Make a backup just in case. It's worth it. I know people saying, oh, I don't know. I'll tell you where we're getting some problems here. August 2nd, 12 days ago, they started offering, and they're slowly rolling it out, so more and more people are getting it. The first big update, they call it anniversary update because it's on the one-year anniversary of the release of Windows 10. If you're a Windows user from years gone by, you'll recognize it as a service pack, I think. It's kind of like Service Pack 1. But it's some new stuff. It adds pen drawing if you've got a pen. Not a ball. Don't use a ballpoint pen. No, like a stylus drawing. And it offers Cortana speech and search, so you can talk to your computer. Both of these things have, I think, they're kind of gimmicky, kind of limited appeal, right? What else? What else is new? Well, you can run the Linux Bash shell. You have a command line that they have borrowed from Ubuntu that allows you to run a lot of, it really shouldn't be called Linux. There's no Linux in it. It should be called GNU. There's a lot of GNU in it. GNU is the software that runs on top of Linux from the Free Software Foundation. That's really what it lets you do, is run that stuff. See, all that's not kind of gimmicky, right? The problem is if you accepted the free upgrade to Windows 10, you don't have much of a choice. Part of the deal, and I know you all thoroughly read the end user license before you clicked agree, right? So you may have noticed paragraph 6, subsection 4C. I'm making that up because I didn't read it either. It says you must accept updates. You cannot turn down updates. That's actually a good thing for security, for the health of the internet. However, it means you have to accept the anniversary update, which should be for most people no big deal, except for me and a lot of other people, it makes a big blue screen of death when we run certain software. For instance, I have that hot new virtual reality headgear, the HTC Vive. And as soon as I did the anniversary update, I can't use it anymore. It blue screens every time I run it. I don't think that that's universal. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's the drivers. I don't know. I've been working on it for a couple of days trying to figure it out. But it's just something, it's like, well, haven't we gotten to the point yet in personal computing where you could actually install an update and it wouldn't make everything break? One would hope so. So I guess in that EULA, paragraph 6, section 3C, must accept upgrades. It probably should also say, and whatever blue screens of death come along with them. You have to accept that. I'm working on acceptance. I'm still in anger, maybe a little denial. Acceptance is a ways off. Lots of people reporting problems. Article on NeoWin says Microsoft investigating freezing issues on PCs after the anniversary update. When you have hundreds of millions of users, I understand in an abstract way this is going to happen. But when it happens to you, it's less abstract. And it's, frankly, a little annoying. Waikiki Guru in our chat room says it's not the end user license agreement, it's the end user abuser license agreement. End user abuse. Well, just a word of warning. You can defer these updates. It really makes you wonder why we try to get anything done with computers anyway. What's wrong with the pencil and paper never crash? Oy. There are some better solutions, I think, than Windows. You've heard me talk about it. It is, in some ways, the year, okay, get ready for this, the year of desktop Linux. I know every time, we've been saying that for 10 years, but really, you're using Linux already. Linux is a free operating system. As I mentioned, the thing that they're not using on Windows 10 was created by a graduate student, Linus Torvalds, in 1992. He wanted to make kind of a free version of a student operating system they called Minix. That's the name, Linux. Linus is Minix. But they were aiming towards making it like a Unix. And anyway, it happened to happen right when the internet started to take off and programmers all over the world started contributing to it, and it got a life of its own. And it's a free operating system. It is the base operating system for your Android phone. Google uses it a lot. And for Chrome OS, so if you have a Chromebook, you're using Linux. In fact, the Chromebook is the version of Linux I recommend for most people. For most people, unless you need to do something a little more elaborate, you don't need a general purpose computer. You need a browser. You need to get your email. You play games, whatever. But the browser's enough for most people, and that's what you get with a Chrome OS. And what you don't get, viruses, security errors, flaws, exploits. You just don't get that stuff. You can still do, I think, most of what everybody wants to do, if not all. And then if you want more, so the question is, should you then buy a Mac or a Windows PC? Well, I guess if you are in a business where you have to use Windows software. Our business office for my business, they use QuickBooks, they need Windows. They use Excel, the spreadsheet, they need Windows, I guess. But we can afford an IT professional to keep things running for them. I pity the guy. What a hard job he's got. If you're an IT support person, you have my deepest sympathies. But if you're a little geeky, I think Linux is an interesting choice. More and more, I'm starting to think this is probably the way out of these blue screens of death. I don't know. What do you think? Am I nuts? Dr. Mom says, no viruses, no exploits. What fun is that? 8888 Ask Leo. Give me a ring. Let's talk. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888 Ask Leo. Did you hear what my Echo did this morning? This is kind of cool. Let me see if I can do it again. I'll reach over and say, Echo, good morning.
Good morning. Happy birthday to that wild and crazy guy, Steve Martin. How'd he stay so funky? I think he did the monkey.
That's from King Tut. That's funny. I've never heard Echo do that. Echo's obviously a Steve Martin fan. Well, happy birthday, Steve. That's cool. Never heard that before. Heather Hammond is here. She is also funky. She does. Let's see the monkey. I can do the monkey. Can you do the monkey?
Is that the monkey? I get them all confused.
Monkeys are climbing a tree.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about the mashed potato? That's more like this.
Yeah, I don't. Mashed potatoes a little before. It's chubby checker. I don't.
The camel.
I can do the swim.
Oh, that's the escalator. I don't.
Can you teach me how to Dougie?
I wish. I've watched that Kate Upton video a million times, and I cannot make my body do that.
I don't even know what the dance is. I guess I'm just not. I'm watching the wrong things.
I bet this guy can do it.
Can you do the? Can you do the Dougie? Can you teach me how to Dougie? No. He said no. He said that very quickly. That there, Heather Hammond.
I can dab because that's easy.
The dab is easy. Yeah, I don't. What's funny, what cracks me up is that in the 50s and 60s they had dances, the twist, and all of that, but we still have dances, which is kind of interesting. It must be a human thing that the dab and the Dougie, and things like that. Yeah.
It was the first sort of thing to kind of go viral just by word of mouth.
Yeah, isn't that interesting?
Other people.
Yeah. And of course, you got line dancing. Texas line dancing is very popular in the
electric
country
slide.
bars. Yeah. But I don't know why we're talking about that.
Yeah.
Huh? The M word? The
dance that will not be named.
I won't say it. What? So really, we're here for another reason entirely, which is besides wishing Steve happy birthday, Mr. Martin, happy birthday, but it's also to answer your questions.
How old is he? Okay, that's a side
I'll
conversation.
tell you offline.
You know I love him so
You
much.
can look it up on Wikipedia.
I know.
It's not secret, but
but speaking of dancing, don't forget the Motor City. We got Michael there with some questions about an iPhone.
In Detroit. Hello, Michael. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, Leo. I hope my question will be useful to a lot of your listeners. I appreciate you being there for us.
That's kind of the goal, right? Ask the question that everybody else is wondering but is too shy to ask.
Well, I've done a lot of Googling, and I can't seem to find a good answer. So Here we go.
All right.
I just got my first smartphone, and I was talked into buying the iPhone 6S. And I'm just starting to realize that Apple makes it difficult or impossible to do a number of things that Android lets its users do pretty easily and oftentimes for free.
Now, wait a minute. You said this is your first smartphone. How do you know what Android lets you do?
Oh, I've been doing a ton of research.
What do you want to do? I think that's, by the way, that is kind of true. And Apple doesn't make any bones about it. They're trying to make a smartphone. Apple's always been this way. We know best, and we're going to, for most people, we make it simpler by just not giving you as many options. Android is more like Windows in that respect, where, any way you want to do it, you can.
Right. So you were talking yesterday about talking caller ID announcements.
Yeah.
And Apple doesn't seem to allow us to do that. And what I originally was going to ask you about is I'd like to be able to occasionally record both audio and video calls. And Android users seem to have several call recording apps to choose from that are all free and save the calls locally to their phone, whereas Apple users have to buy an app that uses a third-party service to record the call. And then
right. You have to actually go through the third-party service so they can hear it.
Right, and then you have to pay a monthly or annual fee, and then that's also much less private than the way Android lets you do it. And so I see that to avoid all this hassle and cost, I see that many iPhone users do something called jailbreaking their phone.
Do not do that.
Okay, that's part of my question.
Do not do that. When you buy an iPhone, you're making that deal that you're going to let Apple choose what to do, and Apple does. It's odd. For instance, Apple has very strong limits on what kind of apps you can buy in the App Store. If an app has a political point of view, they may well ban it, but they're inconsistent in that. They ban anything that is considered adult content, even though it's legal. They ban it. They are an interesting company. Some might say authoritarian. Some might say that they do it that way because users want it, and certainly the iPhone has sold well. I think it's led them down a bad path personally, and I don't use an iPhone as my daily phone. I haven't done that in a couple of years now. For that reason, I want more freedom. I want more flexibility. Now, what jailbreaking does on an iPhone is allow you to get apps from somebody besides Apple. It breaks through that censorship barrier. Apple censors other things. For instance, they have rules against making a program that does the same thing as a program from Apple does. For a long time, that kept other companies from putting browsers on the iPhone. Then all of a sudden, Apple said, okay, browsers. And, that's another problem I have with it. It's unpredictable. They don't follow the rules. They just make them.
Right.
And then they kind of randomly decide what to follow and what not to follow. So problem with jailbreaking is first of all, in order to jailbreak, you have to take advantage of flaws in the operating system, flaws which Apple patches, of course. And so it means you can't update your phone, which means you are then vulnerable to other flaws, including the original flaw. Plus, the source of these third-party apps often, they're not safe. So you're really opening now on Android, there's a checkbox in the Android settings. It says, you want to load applications from somewhere besides the Google Play Store, check this box. They warn you this could be dangerous, but it's just a checkbox.
Right.
So there's the difference. Now, Apple fans will say, yes, but Android has all these, dangerous malware and stuff in the store. And, that's not strictly true. There are flaws in both operating systems. Android, it's a little harder for them to patch. Google, harder for them to patch. They'll patch it in the source, but then it requires the manufacturers, and this is one of the differences. There's many companies that make Android phones to cooperate, and the phone carriers to cooperate. Apple is the only manufacturer of iPhones, and they have deals with the carriers so they can force those updates through immediately.
Right.
Another problem I have with Apple is they don't tell you. They'll push an update on your iPhone, but they don't tell you what it does. You have no way of checking it, vetting it, making sure it's something you want, and you really have no way of turning it down. So it's Apple's way or the highway. A lot of people find that comforting. Sounds like you should have bought an Android phone.
I think I will be in the near future. But I guess what I was going to ask you, is there any way, if I were to go ahead and assume the risk of jailbreaking my phone in order to acquire an app or two that I really want that are just not available, is there a way once I've done that to back up that app? So once I acquire that app, I've read the reviews.
Once jailbreak, you have to stay jailbroken to continue to run that app.
So in other words, you read my mind. I can't go back.
Nope. There's no going back. I mean, you can go back and restore your phone, but you'll lose that app capability. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. And by the way, you can't jailbreak currently. So you have to wait. So you have a new iPhone, and you're probably running the latest version of iOS 9. You have to wait until
9.3.3.
Yeah, you have to wait until somebody jailbreaks 9.3.3.
Right.
And Apple will then immediately fix that jailbreak, and you're stuck without updates. Well, really, once you jailbreak, you're not going to ever update again, and that to me is a much bigger risk.
Right.
If you want
any workaround, do you know of any app or workaround that I'm somehow missing that will allow me? I would think a lot of people, I've got a grandfather who would love to speak to his great-grandson. I'd love to be able to video record those either whether they're FaceTime calls or their Skype calls. You know, that's a nice thing to have.
Only Apple can do that, and this is why. Apple, for good, completely legitimate security reasons, prevents other apps from accessing the data of, apps accessing other apps' data, because they want to sandbox every app. So only the operating system can operate at that level. And of course, Apple says, "Well, we're trusted, and we're going to be safe, but we will not let another app get access to that data."
Right.
Because that would be dangerous. For instance, that would then open the door for a spyware app to record all your conversations without your knowledge. And so Apple's just not going to allow that.
I hear that, and it's a good argument, but at the same time, somehow Android users are able to do all these things. And it would just, it's frustrating that they don't seem to, or they seem to be able to manage those risks and have those nice apps that they can do these things I'd like to do. And it just frustrates me that Apple seems to either want to get paid or they want their partners to get paid for these things. It just, like the app I'm looking at that seems to do what I'm looking to do, again, using a third party, I believe it has to announce the call is being recorded.
That's for legal reasons, right?
Right.
Because like in California, we're in a two-party state. You have to tell the party they're recording. And so Apple's never going to let an app that allows you to bypass the law. That's another thing, In fact, somebody wanted it's legal, for instance, if you have a medical marijuana card in the state of California to buy marijuana. Somebody wanted to release a app that had marijuana dispensaries on it, and Apple wouldn't let them because Apple didn't want to. It's Apple's judgment, and they're sometimes they're kind of biddies.
Is this
frankly.
the reason that so you do recommend Android phones over iPhones because of these kinds of limitations?
Well, for me, I do. Oftentimes, though, I will tell listeners to get an Apple phone. Some people, that's the right thing to do. If your needs are simple and you're unsophisticated and you don't want to do, you just want something simple that works, that's secure, an iPhone is a very good choice. There's a lot to be said for the iPhone, but they aren't at this point. I have to say, this has changed. Apple really opened this industry, began this industry of smartphones.
Sure,
but over the last 10 years, Apple has fallen farther and farther behind, to be honest, even in hardware.
Right.
And I find their attitude offensive, but I can't. But that's to me personally, and so I don't use I'm using fewer and fewer of their products, to be honest with you, because I feel like they have become a fashion and designer brand, a style brand, and not a geek brand. And I'm a geek. I want to be able to get in there. And
Very last question. I appreciate all this advice.
Sure.
Last question. Acer Aspire R13. That's
very nice.
You like that one?
Yep. Very nice.
That seems to be the best two-in-one form factor in terms of protecting the keyboard. The keyboard never drags underneath, rubs against the bottom of the table, etc. I can't understand why more people don't know that laptop exists and why that two-in-one form factor hasn't become the standard for others to follow instead of that 360 where the keyboard is exposed underneath.
It just, this is very much like this Apple Android conversation. It's a direct analog to that. On the Windows side, you have choice because you have many, many manufacturers, and so there's many different styles. Some people want the complete convertible, some people don't. Some people want it to be detachable, some people don't, and that's beautiful. There is a lot of choice in that space. I got to run.
I like choice.
Yep. Thanks a lot. Take care. Now we're doing a dance. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888 Ask Leo. Everybody now. Na 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 na. Oh, good Watusi. Oh, you look great. Nice job. You, sir, should sit down. Leo Laporte, no, I'm just teasing you. I can't see through the radio much. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number, 888-827-5536. That's toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. I continued our conversation off the air during the commercial with our last caller because, he asked me an important question off the air, which is, well, do you never recommend Apple phones? And that's not true. I do recommend iPhones. You've heard me do it if you've listened to the show a lot. I think it depends on the person. And I think sometimes I confuse people because some people see this whole thing as a team sport. You're either on the Apple team or you're on the Google team or you're on the Microsoft team. What team are you on? And I confuse people because sometimes I'll say, oh, you should get an iPhone. Sometimes I'll say, oh, you should get a Samsung Galaxy S7. And sometimes I say, oh, whatever you do, don't get a Samsung. And what it is I'm trying to tailor my answer to you because you know what? This is a personal computer. It's a personal decision. And for a lot of people, an iPhone's the right choice. And it really depends a lot on what your needs are, what you want to do. But our last caller, what he wanted to do, you can't do on an iPhone, and you probably never will. It's only Apple can allow you, for instance, to record phone calls. And Apple would have to build that into the operating system and, at least directly on the phone. And they're not going to do that. Now, they can't prevent these companies that allow that because the way these other companies work, you forward your phone number to them. And so they're intercepting your call. They can't prevent companies from doing that. They also could, and you should check with your carrier. Some carriers do have the capability to, press *9 or whatever during a call and record it. Apple can't prevent that either. But what Apple can prevent is software doing that on the phone, and they really don't. They see that as a problem, and I understand why they do. With great power comes great responsibility. So if a computing system gives you power, it also gives you all the other things we've talked about before, the risks of malware, the risks of crashes. You want a flexible, powerful computer, you have to sign up for that. And so a lot of our callers don't want to sign up for that. They aren't interested in that. They're interested in just something. I just want it to work. In fact, isn't that in most cases? I just want it to work. And a phone is a good example of something where you just want it to work. Really, right? 8888 ask Leah, what do you think? You agree? Disagree? Karen's in Diamond Bar. Hi, Karen. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hey,
Hi,
Karen.
Leo.
Come on over to the phone. I'm sorry to keep you waiting. Thanks for your patience.
Yeah, well, I was granted the other room. I'm so glad I got disconnected last week, and I am delighted to talk to you.
Well, I'm delighted to talk to you. Thank you.
Okay, I have three things I'd like to ask you about. The first one is the most annoying. When I'm typing, and I will type, sometimes I don't look because I'm, thinking about what I'm going to type, the cursor jumps. And apparently it's a common problem, and I haven't been able to find a solution. There
drives me crazy. I know exactly what you're talking about. Is it a laptop?
Yeah, two of my laptops.
Do you have a trackpad? Do you have a trackpad on your laptop?
I don't know what a trackpad is. I've got like one of those pads where you move. It's not a circle or anything.
No, it's a square, and you move your finger around on it. That's called a trackpad. That's what's causing the problem. If you were to type with your hands straight up in the air and just your fingers touching the keyboard, this would not happen. But
that's not true. I've done that, and
really?
It still happens. Yes, it still happens. I don't understand that. I've done everything. I did two-finger typing. I've done all kinds of things, and it just randomly, you just look at it the wrong way, and it jumps.
Well, this is really common with trackpads, and most of the time the solution is there's in the trackpad settings a checkbox to it's called palm rejection or wrist rejection to when you're typing turn off the trackpad. And it may even be a function key on your keyboard. I would try this first just to make sure. It drives me crazy too, and unfortunately because I'm using Linux on a machine that was designed for Windows, I can't turn it off, and I just have to type very carefully or the thing will jump all over the place. So I would suggest trying that. If it doesn't work, it could be that the trackpad, there are things that can make a trackpad seem like it's a ghost is touching. I'm pretty sure it's going to boil down to the trackpad. Static electricity, schmutz on the trackpad, all sorts of things can cause this kind of jumping around. Who makes your laptop, just out of curiosity?
Both of them are Acers.
Acers. And
one's a laptop, the other one's a notebook.
Okay, it happens on both of them.
I had hoped that it would get improved with the Windows 10, but it hasn't.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure Acer has a disabled trackpad during typing checkbox, so I would check in your control panel for that.
Okay.
There may even be a function key. In fact, I think there is, I'm trying to remember. I think there is on Acer a function key, like function 9, that you press it and the trackpad gets turned off. The one way to test this is to just plug in a keyboard, if you have one lying around, to the USB port, and use that and see if it still happens. If it does, then there is probably something wrong with your computer. This isn't something normal. It is normal if there's stray touches on the trackpad. That's very normal, and that's really the cure for it. But if it continues to happen even when you're like on a keyboard and a mouse attached to the laptop, then it could be your trackpad has a short circuit in it or something more serious is wrong with it. In which case, brand new, right? Yeah. So you should be able to replace it. Somebody's sending me a link here from the Houston Chronicle. How to fix a jumping computer on a jumping cursor on an Acer computer. So maybe it's not that unusual. I don't know. Click the start button. Type mouse. That's going to take you to the mouse properties control panel. Click the tapping tab. Click to put a check mark in the box labeled "Tap off when typing." This will disable. Try that. This will disable. We'll put a link, and we'll put a link in the show notes to this article. And that's at techguylabs.com. There are Acer uses a couple of different brands, so it just depends on which brand you have.
Great.
Yeah, and it says in this article kind of what I'm saying. While accidental touchpad taps are the most likely cause of cursor jumps on an Acer computer, by the way, for Acer, write anything else. Any laptop has this problem. You can also try reinstalling your mouse driver. Yeah, that might work. Update your driver. Actually, usually it's not a mouse driver; it's a touchpad driver. And that's kind of maybe. I wouldn't guess that. JC Techie is saying if you want, you could disable the trackpad, reinstall the drivers, update the drivers. Boy, I don't. I think it's just that simple of a setting. In most cases, it is. Hey, good luck. I hate that. It happens to me. And as I said, because I'm using Linux and it just doesn't have the right driver for that trackpad, I can't disable, the trackpad when I'm typing, and it drives me nuts. I just have to type I keep my wrists in the air. Rose in Los Angeles is next. Hi, Rose. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great.
I just moved, so I feel your pain.
Oh, yeah, the move of the studio. Yeah, it's no fun, is it?
No fun at all.
Every time I move, I say never again.
Me too, but I keep moving.
I keep moving. I keep saying they're taking me. The next move is going to be in a pine box as they take me out of this.
Me too, but I say I want good Wi-Fi, reliable Wi-Fi, and a deck of cards.
That's worth moving for. Reliable Wi-Fi and a deck of cards. That's all you need in life.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe a nice bowl of soup for dinner. Hey, Rose, hang on, because I do have to take a break.
Thank you.
But I will be right back, and you will be right there, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice bowl of soup and maybe a hand of solitaire while you wait. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. If you're outside that area, you can also reach us via Skype. Back to the phones we go. David oh, no, wait a minute. Rose, I'm sorry. See, I almost forgot, but now I remember. Rose in L.A. Sorry, Rose.
I have been following from all over the world for years, and now you forget about it.
I have not forgotten. All over the world?
Yeah, from Israel. I listened to you for years.
Oh, man, I'm so happy.
I bought the printer you told me to buy, everything.
Epson is now really happy.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing.
Thank you,
printer.
Rose. Oh, bless you, Rose. Thank you so much.
I have a huge problem. I am a community manager, and I do everything from my Facebook, and my Facebook has been hacked. My machine is totally clean. I have written 300 emails to Facebook, and the only thing they do is they delete my capability to post. And new pages keep appearing, like if I had created and tagging all my friends, and they say you are sending too many, tagging too many people, sending too many messages. I am not the one that's sending them. But I keep telling, it's that easy for them to check these pages with names in Turkish that appear in my Facebook.
Oh, yeah. You don't speak Turkish?
Not that one, sorry.
Not that well. Okay. So have you changed your Facebook password?
100 times. It's encrypted. My machine is secure, has been professionally cleaned twice besides my malware and everything. It's, that's what I work with, so I'm extremely careful.
Wow. All right. So have you seen the posts that they claim you sent, or are they visible on your,
Oh, no, they are visible, and they tag everybody in my list, and everybody has unfriended me, my personal friends.
Oh, no.
And I cannot post in the sites I need to update.
Okay, so there are a couple of things everybody should do to secure your Facebook account. Of course, have a strong password, but also turn on two-factor authentication. Now, this requires the use of the Facebook app on your phone. Do you use the Facebook app?
Of course
okay.
I do.
So they have that code generator. It's hard to find. It's in the settings toward the bottom. Have you been using that?
No, I haven't used that.
Okay, start using that. That will keep people from getting into your account. Now, there were ways to hack somebody's Facebook account in the past, but Facebook has fixed all of those that I know of.
Oh, no. Right now, one of 3 of my friends is being hacked. No thanks to my account, but there is a huge wave of Facebook hacking right now.
Okay.
If anybody in the chat room know of some cybersecurity person that could help me, I am desperate.
Well, we're going to walk you through some things. The next thing you need to do after you turn on second-factor authentication, that'll keep people from stealing anything.
That's their no.
Yeah. Turn that on, and then go into your Facebook settings. You want to see what applications, I think this is how it's happening, by the way, what applications you've given permissions to.
I have deleted all my permissions.
Okay, so no application. It's over here in the apps part of the settings. Logged in with Facebook. See, I'm looking at mine, and I have 297 apps logged in with Facebook. In many cases, those apps have permission to post on my behalf. Make sure you delete all of those.
I have deleted all. I had disabled all my Chrome extensions. I have every way to get into my accounts is closed.
So you've gone into the app settings in Facebook, and you have disconnected all of the apps that
could post. I never accept anybody that can post on my behalf anyhow.
Okay, because that's the most likely way to do that. And so what is it still going on? They're posting on your Facebook?
Oh, yes. And every time, let's say, if I click on a page to try to disable the Turkish page, when I click on it, it sends an email again to everybody I know.
Holy cow. Wow.
And Facebook keeps sending you like little, messages that are not personalized, that are just messages. Mm-hmm. And there is no way to upscale, to escalate your problem.
Well, they have, they have 1.5 billion customers. It's kind of...
Yeah, but if they own all your data, all your friends,
I agree.
Business, and then they take that position, they should take a position when there is a problem to give you some guidance on what to do. I am a responsible user.
Yeah, absolutely. And you sound like a sophisticated user. You've done a number of things.
Thank you, Leo.
Yeah, that you would be the right thing to do.
I don't speak Turkish, so kill me.
Okay, here's one thing to try is just off the top, let's see what's hacked, okay? If your computer is hacked, which it could be, you could have a remote access Trojan on your computer. This is a very long shot, but it's something we should probably eliminate. Disconnect your computer from the internet. Literally disconnect, turn off your Wi-Fi or disconnect the cord, okay?
Okay.
You can still use your phone. See if this persists. Okay. So use your phone to access your Facebook account to try, for a day or two. How often do they post on your behalf?
30 times a day.
Okay. So you'll know pretty quickly. I would, in fact, disconnect your computer from the internet, turn off Wi-Fi, unplug any cable, and then go on your phone and unlike that Turkish account, get rid of that account. Okay. Turn on two-factor. You can do all of this on your phone app, on the Facebook app. Turn on two-factor.
But I cannot turn on Facebook if I am on my phone because they have to call me. And if I am on the phone, they cannot call me.
You can't use your phone and Facebook at the same time.
Right.
Okay.
And you cannot open a new account because you need another cell phone number.
Right. Yeah, and I think we should not have to open a new account. We should be able to figure out how you lock down your existing account. Have they banned you on your account yet, or are they?
Oh yes. Oh no, they didn't ban me. They let me post in my account.
They say you can't post
and like things on my friend.
Okay.
But there is nobody else in my account to read them or like them. Everybody has unfriended me.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Do you have a different computer or a friend's computer you could use instead of your phone?
I use the computer in the office.
Okay. Let's see. What we want to do is figure out if the worst case scenario, and it would be the worst case scenario, somebody has put a Trojan horse on your computer that wasn't removed by Malwarebytes. So that would require taking that computer off the internet, just temporarily, and seeing if this activity persists.
Okay.
If it does, then it's not coming from your computer, or maybe it's coming from your office computer. But it's not coming. What we want to do is kind of eliminate possibilities. You understand?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So let's see if we do that, if that gets things better. There is a security section on your Facebook that tells you, actually, this is probably the best way to do this. In the app settings, I think you can see where you are logged in on Facebook.
Yes, you can, but I am not logged in any place but my laptop.
Okay, that's good news. Well, it's good and bad news. It means they're not logged into your Facebook account. Okay? It means that it's coming from your laptop. It's coming from your laptop. So let's take that laptop offline and see if it goes away. If it does, could it be somebody at work using your computer at work?
No.
So if it goes away, then your laptop is compromised. And this is why you've heard me say this many times. Malwarebytes is nice, but it doesn't get rid of everything, and it gives you
I had it professionally cleaned twice.
You can't clean a computer. You have to reinstall Windows.
It is a Mac.
It's a Mac?
Yeah.
There's no Malwarebytes on the Mac.
Well, I have run it several times.
Oh, dear. Is there Malwarebytes is available? There is. I'm sorry. Yeah, never mind. It doesn't do much because Macs are a completely different animal.
I hear you.
Well, it's very unlikely that you're hacked on the Mac. Yeah. It's very unlikely you're hacked on the Mac. I don't know why they make a Malwarebytes for the Mac because there's nothing you can do with it on the Mac.
I know.
Maybe you have a browser plug-in.
I have disabled all my browser plug-in.
Yeah. Okay.
Everything is encrypted through Dashlane.
We have to take a break. Hang on, I'll talk to you off the air, okay?
Okay.
We don't want those Turkish folks to hear what we're talking about. It's a secret. Take a break for the news at the top of the hour. More of your calls coming up next hour. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Oh, my goodness, Rose. Let's see. Let me think here. So let me just recapitulate so I understand this in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
When did it start?
3 weeks ago.
Okay.
Are we on air?
No, we're just talking, you and me.
I opened a second Facebook. I can remember how I did that. And they hacked that too. So
it's your computer. Sounds like it's your computer. Now, a Mac is not easily hacked. I would say there is something installed, some sort of ad. Do you know what the nature of the Turkish posts are? Do they seem spammy?
Well, some they all led to porno sites.
Yeah, that's spam.
And they all send to Messenger.
Yeah, so that's spamming.
Yeah.
So something is on your computer. I'm pretty sure this is what it is at this point. Something is on that laptop that is using your Facebook to spam. It's not that your Facebook account has been hacked. I don't believe it has, but turn on second factor, change the password one more time and turn on second factor, disable all connected apps. Then there's no way they could do it without having your access to your browser. Your browser logs into Facebook automatically.
Mm-hmm.
So another way to test this might be even easier.
To change the passbook.
No. You want to actually, in effect, take Facebook out of your browser. So you want to go into your browser history, clear all the cookies in your browser. It's in. You use Safari. What do you use?
Chrome. I did this morning. I took every Facebook out of my Chrome.
Okay, you go into Chrome. You go into the content section of the advanced settings, and you blast everything out. Nothing should be in there.
Right.
You've turned off all. You could. You do have. You don't. I think we want to uninstall Java and Flash as well.
Okay.
Chrome doesn't use the built-in Flash. Chrome uses its own Flash. There's a program you might want to download called Little Snitch.
Little Snitch, okay.
This is a Macintosh program that watches outbound traffic. So the Macintosh firewall, which you should also turn on, it's in the settings, only watches inbound traffic. But if there's something running on your computer that is sending outbound traffic, Little Snitch will flag that. Now, the reason I don't usually recommend it is because it's extremely annoying, because the first time you use anything on the internet, Little Snitch pops up a thing, says, "This is trying to talk to the internet. Is that okay?" And then you have to say, "Yes, this is okay." And after a while, that goes away because you've approved everything.
Downloading Little Snitch as we speak.
Yeah. But the thing is, for this to work, it would have to be compromising your browser, because it would have to be accessing your Facebook account. I think it's automated. It's an automated browser hijacker object, this is my guess, that is using your existing login to Facebook. So you change your password, but you stay logged into Facebook.
But
doesn't matter.
The other thing is that every time that I want to log into Facebook, it doesn't accept my I have to create a new password. It doesn't accept the password I have logged in before.
But it lets you create a new password by sending you a notice to your phone?
No, it just tells me that is not a password. It's not the password you are signed up. You created for this account. That's not the right password. Every single time.
There you go. That's interesting. That's interesting. Why is that happening? So, and it just says, enter your new password here?
Yeah. Well, it says if you are logged to your Gmail account, you can create a new password online. We don't have to call you.
And so what you do is you go to your Gmail account and they send you a link?
No, you can do it on the same screen of Facebook.
I don't think that's normal.
But there is no voice to talk to. You explain the problem to them, all the problems to them, and what you have done, and they send you a pre-recorded kind of message telling you that you are breaking the rules of them. You're spamming. Nobody reads anything. Facebook doesn't exist.
That behavior, though. Yeah. Well, part of the problem is Facebook doesn't want to. If you have an infection on your computer, that's not their problem. You know what I'm saying?
My computer is clean. Of this, I'm sure. I took it to an Israeli cybersecurity guy. My computer is clean.
Yeah, well, they're probably very good. But I don't understand then what's going on, because if your computer is clean.
I want to buy a new computer. If that is what it takes, I want to go and buy a new computer.
Well, you don't have to do that. You can wipe your Mac, and I would try this, frankly. I would wipe your Mac and reinstall the operating system from scratch.
Okay, I will back it up tomorrow.
That's as good as a new computer. Back up your data and reinstall your Mac from scratch. What do you think, John?
I think she should look in the address bar and confirm it.
Make sure you're going to facebook.com, right?
If she's got something weird bookmarked and she keeps going to the same thing.
There's something really strange going on.
In the Europe.
You make sure you look in the address bar, not only that it says facebook.com, but that it's green letters, HTTPS. Click on the lock and make sure the certificate comes from facebook.com.
Okay.
You might have a man-in-the-middle attack. That's possible. I mean, now we're getting really sophisticated. Are you a community manager for like some political group that has enemies?
No, worse, synagogues. Imagine sending a porn message to every member of a synagogue.
Sorry.
Imagine that.
Yeah, make sure it says look in the browser bar on Chrome and that it says https facebook.com. That is green. Click on the padlock there and view the certificate.
Yeah, okay, here is green. Let me check on the padlock. And it takes me directly to Facebook. Doesn't do anything else. When I click on the green thing.
Click on the padlock.
Your connection to this site is private. No, I got it. Your connection to this site is private, but someone on the network might be able to change the look of the page details.
That's not good. That's not good. So I want to see this page is secure HTTPS. And I want to see a valid certificate, and then I want to view the certificate, and I want the certificate to say it's from Facebook.com.
This page is not secure. Valid certificate, view certificate. But issued by Avast, which is one of my...
Oh, get that thing off of there.
Avast?
Avast is a man in the middle. Do not take that off. You're not getting a Facebook certificate.
Okay.
Avast, by the way, this is why we do not recommend Avast. Take that thing off.
Okay, I'm taking it right now.
Yeah, you should see a certificate issued by DigiCert for Facebook.com. I do not like that at all.
Okay, got it.
That's what's going on. Somebody's man in the middle attacking you.
Okay.
That's horrific.
Okay. I thank you for spending so much time.
I'm sorry, Rose. This is terrible, but get that Avast off there right now. And do not use Facebook unless you see a green certificate to Facebook.com.
Okay.
Okay?
The letters have to be green.
Green, and it says Facebook.com. That valid certificate has to be from Facebook.com. They're telling you your connection's not secure because of this Avast thing. I got to run. Thanks,
Thank
Rose.
you very much. Have
okay.
to move.
All
Bye-bye.
right. Thank you. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, home security, digital photography, smartphones, smartwatches, and all that jazz. 8888 Ask Leo is the phone number if you want to call with a question or comment. I spent some more time with Rose during the break, quite a bit. In fact, I just hung up on her because we had to come back. But I think we narrowed it down to something very surprising and very interesting. So as you remember, before the break, we were talking to Rose. She is a community member for a synagogue, a community manager for a synagogue, and some Turkish site has posted on her Facebook account, continues to post on her Facebook account, spammy links to adult sites, to porn sites. Imagine that being sent out to her Facebook friends on, I mean, horrific, right? The worst thing. She took it to a security consultant who cleaned it, wiped it. Still happening. Something interesting was happening, though. Every time she tried to log into Facebook, it said, this isn't your password. Give us a new password. Without leaving the page. That's very suspicious. I asked her in the browser. You heard using Chrome. And this is for you. This is for everybody listening. This is really important. I said, look at your Chrome browser bar. It says facebook.com, right? Not faceb00.k.com or something that looks like Facebook but isn't, or facebook.hacker.com or facebook.ru. So it's facebook.com spelled properly. In fact, type that in, facebook.com spelled properly. See if you go to Facebook. Now, again, looking at that browser bar, you want to see HTTPS. That means it's secure. Facebook is a secure site. That means no one else can break in on your conversation. You want to see a padlock, green padlock. Now, I asked Rose to do this. I say, click that padlock and look at the certificate. So you'll get on the right when you click the padlock. And all browsers do this. Chrome puts it over on the right, but all browsers have essentially the same mechanism. And I want to see this page is secure, valid HTTPS, and then I want you to look at the certificate. The certificate is how secure browsing works. There are a limited number of certificate authorities. trusted certificate authorities. Your browser has them built in that can issue certificates. That certificate has to go back to come back to one of those approved browsers to be approved certificate authorities to be approved by your browser. Otherwise, you won't get that green padlock. And you should be able to look at that certificate and see to whom it was issued. On a properly set up computer, it should say, when you open up the certificate, facebook.com. Actually says star.facebook.com. It's a wild card certificate. That means anything .facebook.com is from Facebook. Issued by DigiCert, that is one of the approved certificate authorities. Expires December 30th, 2016, so we know it's still good. And then a green check that says the certificate is valid. I asked her to do that. It wasn't from Facebook. It was from a company called Avast. Avast is, and I don't know if it really is Avast. Avast is a free antivirus program that I don't know to be bad. I do know that some antiviruses, as a form of protection, take over all your internet traffic. This is what Avast is doing, or it's malware posing as Avast. I don't know. But the fact that she's going to Facebook.com and getting a certificate from another company means that she has been subject to something we call a man-in-the-middle attack. In between her and Facebook, there's a third party. It's identifying itself as Avast. Probably is Avast. It probably is the antivirus Avast trying to protect her. However, that's a terrible solution. Some Lenovo computers did this, you may remember, and Lenovo got in a lot of trouble. If you don't see star.facebook.com with a certificate, valid certificate from DigiCert that's valid on the date you're using it, you are not talking directly to Facebook, and that's probably what's going on. When you install some antiviruses, and I'm not going to accuse Avast of this because I'm not sure it's the case, but I do remember some do this, and maybe even Avast does this. I seem to remember we had problems with Avast doing this, in fact. This is a known attack. So she needs to clean her computer and get Avast off of there. She cannot use Facebook unless she sees that she is talking directly to Facebook. At that point, that behavior is going to go away. She is being attacked. There's a man-in-the-middle attack. My suggestion here is at this point, this is frankly what her security guy should have done, and you should always do when this weird behavior happens and you suddenly see that certificate isn't from who you thought it is, wipe the computer and reinstall your operating system. That is not good. PC guy is sending me instructions from Avast to turn on something they call Web Shield that does this. Turn it off. That is so wrong. And here's why it's wrong. Maybe Avast is doing that legitimately. Maybe they're a legitimate company. This is a reasonable way to try to protect you by screening everything coming in off your browser. Here's why that's wrong. One little flaw in that, and somebody else now has access to that data, and I bet that's what's happened. We'll put some links in the show notes. Here's one the chat room's giving me to the safemac.com. Avast's Man in the Middle is the name of the article. This is not the way to do it. This is the wrong thing to do. This article comes from February of 2015. Do not do this, Avast. Nobody should do this. You should never replace legitimate certificates with your own. That is a man-in-the-middle attack, and it's a risky thing to do, even if you do it with the best intentions. And in all likelihood, Avast, in order to do this, installs its own certificate authority in your browser. Remember I said the browser has a list of trusted certificate authorities? Well, Avast isn't normally in that list. And this is why I often say to people, please get a Chromebook When you have a general purpose computer, a Windows machine, a Mac machine, a Linux machine, when you have a computer that lets you do things, one of the things you can do is install software. And no security software is ultimately going to prevent you from doing what you want to do. You wouldn't want that. That would be bad software. You want to be able to install whatever you want. Rose installed Avast. The operating system, OS X, assumes, well, she must know what she's doing. She wanted it. And it had this, potentially very dangerous effect. I don't know what the next step is in the infection. Maybe something's pretending to be Avast. Maybe Avast opened a hole that bad guys are using. But my suspicion is this whole problem she's having with somebody posting to her Facebook account comes from the fact that she's not talking to Facebook. She's talking to somebody else who's then passing it along to Facebook. That is a bad, risky behavior. Avast shouldn't do it. No one should do that. Sometimes your work might do it, and they can. It's legal because it's their computer, their internet connection. They have the right to do that, but you should be aware as soon as that happens on any system that you no longer have faith in where you're going. It may say Facebook. It isn't. It's somewhere else that then passes it along to Facebook. And then the advice I gave Rose to protect her Facebook account, and she should do it with her Gmail account, and it's my advice to all of you, is use two-factor authentication. That's usually a text message you get, or you'll have an app on your phone that gives you a 6-digit code that you have to enter in addition to your password. That kind of protection is really important. It wouldn't protect her here because she's given Avast permission to intercept her traffic. Avast is acting on her behalf with Facebook, or whoever's pretending to be Avast. Wow. I'm glad we were able to track that down, and I'm so sorry, Rose, that happened to you. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. It's completely legal. That's the problem with general purpose operating systems. They let you do whatever you want. Hey, our show today brought to you by Rocket Mortgage. I've talked to you about Rocket Mortgage before. It's really, these guys love you guys. You guys are sophisticated. You're technically literate. That means you're the perfect customer for Quicken Loans and Rocket Mortgage. Rocket Mortgage is Quicken Loans, online-only mortgage solution. And this is great because you don't want to have to schlep a box of, paper records, go digging through files just to get a home loan or just to refi. You want to do it all online, right? That's how Rocket Mortgage works. It brings the home mortgage process into the 21st century. It's fast, it's easy, and completely online. You can share your bank statements and pay stubs with the push of a button. You can get approved in minutes, and because it's online and because it's a computer, you'll get a custom mortgage solution tailored to your unique financial situation, and it's fast. You can do it all on your phone or your tablet. You don't even have to get up from the computer. You don't have to get up from the Olympics. You just sit in your armchair and apply for a home loan. You'll love it. If you're looking to refi, if you're looking to buy a house, if you're looking to pre-qualify to buy a house, check out Rocket Mortgage today. Just go to quickenloans.com/techguy, quickenloans.com/techguy. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLS, consumeraccess.org, number 3030. We thank Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans for the support of their Tech Guy podcast, quickenloans.com/techguy. Happy birthday to Steve Martin. King Tut. He's got, by the way, I saw his play in San Diego at the Old Globe Theater. Great play, Meteor Shower. Really funny. And Jenna Fisher from The Office is in it. She's great. Love her. I think it's a limited engagement. It's go see it now. And it's going to then go to Connecticut. You can see the Long Wharf Theater. I bet it goes to Broadway. It's good. 8888 Ask Leo. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. David in Central Lake, Michigan. Hello, David.
Hey, Leo. Big fan. Love the show.
Thank you.
Congratulations on the studio.
Thank you.
So basically, I'm looking at getting some new speakers for listening to at home, but then also like to listen to with friends, like during a party. Like I would DJ and like would play.
Awesome.
So I want to get something pretty loud, but then also portable, like that I could just use at home and be able to carry around easily, then between $200 to $400.
So you want powered speakers.
Yeah.
And then you would connect a device, a phone or whatever, for the music part of that.
Mm-hmm. Just through the audio jack, but I mean Bluetooth would be a plus. But
yeah, there are a lot of Bluetooth speakers out there, and
so
it
many
is
options. I didn't even know where to start.
Yeah, it's nice to have both. Yeah, and it kind of, their options are at this point. It's things like, do you want waterproof? Do you think you'll be taking it to the beach? Do you want sandproof? How some of them are really robust. You can bang them around. Generally, the better sound is going to be more expensive and less robust, right? Mm-hmm. So do you want really great sound? Do you want really great bass, or is it?
I want really great sound. Well, I was looking at studio monitor speakers, but then I had a friend who'd say, you don't really want those for normal listening because they're just for making music and not just playing music.
Well, I disagree. I listen. I love my studio monitors. I have them everywhere.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Yeah,
so.
JBL, which makes studio monitors very commonly. You see them everywhere. I have a set of JBLs at my house. I love them. They do make portable Bluetooth speakers. They have a broad variety of battery-powered Bluetooth speakers. Some with, some that are waterproof, like the Flip and the Charge. Some that are a little bit bigger. Bigger is going to give you a better sound than smaller. Mm-hmm. I think those JBLs are great. I happen, when it comes to powered speakers, you want a battery-powered speaker, I think, yeah? Because you're not going to be always near plugs.
Well, having just a normal power outlet one would be totally fine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that really opens you up. And frankly, I think because they don't have to put a battery in there, that means they can there's more room for the speaker. You're going to get better speakers that way.
Yeah, I'd always been access of a power outlet.
Yeah, I mean, what I use for powered speakers, I use them for my computer. I've used it for home theater, is from a company called Audio Engine.
Okay.
They're excellent. They're fragile. And they require power. They're not like, although they probably have some Audio Engine portables now. It's such a big category. This is exploded in the same way the headphone category exploded a couple of years ago, where everybody was making headphones. I really like the Audio Engines. I haven't seen.
Yeah, I've heard those suggested before.
They're superb portable speakers. Let's look at what the Wirecutter. I always like to look at the Wirecutter because this was a site started by Brian Lamb. He's a really talented tech reviewer, worked at Gizmodo. And the Wirecutter, it's at thewirecutter.com, was created primarily because they thought, you get too much information in computer reviews. They just tell us what the best speaker is, right? And that's kind of why you call me. You don't want me to give you a list of 20. They like the Ultimate Ears, which is a Logitech brand, the UE Roll, ROLL2. They say it sounds better, plays louder than most competitors, waterproof, rugged design. So that's not a bad choice if you want rugged. Again, rugged usually means, it's not going to have as great a sound because and battery are not going to have as great a sound. I also love, and I use all the time, the Bose SoundLinks. They have little SoundLink color portable ones that are smaller, and they have bigger ones, the SoundLink Mini, and then they have a bigger one that has really good sound. So I would look at those as well.
Okay.
So that's I know I didn't give you one, I gave you a bunch.
I know. That's fine. One other one that I've heard about and looked at that are just purely for studio monitor, it said, is the KRK
Very good.
5s.
Excellent.
And I was
excellent.
Those are okay.
And the another one the Wirecutter is recommending that I have never seen before. They say for the best sound at a high price, the Riva RIVA Turbo X. That's $300, but it's got 26 hours of battery in it. It's a bigger speaker. Bigger is always going to have better sound, and 45 watts of power on those. So that's one more from the Wirecutter. They're in the chat room saying the clips are very good. Amazon. Okay, John, my studio manager has a favorite. He says look for the Bluetooth portable PA. All right, it's like a PA speaker. All right. Oh my gosh, that's from the. Are you looking at the Ion or others? So these are like for DJs. I see what you're saying. You have a microphone. It's a portable PA. A DJ could bring it around. Some of them are on rollers. That's an interesting solution too. If you really wanted to have a party wherever you are, the portable PAs, and there are a number of them. Ion makes some. QFX, Pure Acoustics, and some of them are on rollers like a luggage. That's pretty cute, pretty cool. They're not very expensive either. So there's a lot of choices out there. You know, the best thing to do, if you could, is find a DJ supply store and go listen, because you want to hear what they sound like.
Okay, yeah. Basically, my biggest confusion is this one friend I had saying that, oh, you don't want studio monitor speakers, and I was like, this must be the best.
Depends on your ears. Studio monitors tend to be more flat. That's probably why he's saying that.
That's what he was saying. And
yeah.
I'm like,
so if you really want to party, sometimes you go to a disco, you're not hearing flat. You're hearing a boost bass, big boost bass, and you might be hearing a boost high end too. Sometimes they call that loudness. You can do that in an equalizer on your source material as well. Mm-hmm. But the reason studio monitors are flat, they want the recording engineer and the mixer to know that they're hearing what is on there and modify it accordingly to their taste. Mm-hmm. So that makes sense.
But then if I wanted to, I could turn up the bass.
Of course.
Otherwise, I would just have...
Yeah, of course. And frankly, the studio monitors I love, the JBLs, are far from flat. They're famous. They're famous for their curve, the boosted bass. They're famous for that. So, I guess there's flat and there's flat. I mean, if you want to spend a lot of money and get some Rebel speakers or some very high-end studio monitors, they might be really flat. And you probably would have to EQ those to give them the party sound you're looking for.
Mm-hmm. All right.
All right?
Yeah, all this has been very helpful.
Good.
I will definitely look all those up.
Good.
So,
I'm glad. Yeah, thanks for calling. You know what? There's nothing like having music in your life wherever you go. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. So I guess Steve Martin tweeted. He heard it. He probably got 1 million emails, right? But I sent him the MP3 file because I'm the tech guy. Chris Marquardt is here. That song means it's time to talk digital photography. He is a photographic wizard operating out of Germany. His website, Discover the Top Floor, features lots of his pictures, but also links to his workshops and his book about film photography. Hey, Chris.
Hey, Leo. How's it going?
It's going great.
Wonderful.
We'll continue with superpowers. Yeah, right. Oh, boy, that's a superpower. Yeah, moving a studio.
It is. I'm so glad. Mine is only 1.5 years ago. So.
But did you have to do this? Taking 20,000 square feet of studio and compressing it into 6,000? You didn't have to do that, did you?
Actually, we expanded. We moved to a bigger place, which is much easier.
Little tip, always easier to get bigger than smaller.
True.
On the other hand, the discipline of throwing out all the junk I've collected over the last 30 years as a tech guy, that's pretty good.
That's a liberating experience, isn't it?
Yeah. I know I'm going to regret throwing that Amiga out, but, well, that's life.
Yeah.
Did we keep the 20th anniversary Macintosh? Anyway, it doesn't work, but it's pretty. What is our superpower this week?
Well, we want to run to another secret photography superpower. And I think it's number 6 we're doing right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7 even. Have you ever seen photos of silky smooth water surfaces? Like really misty looking water surfaces, flowing rivers, waterfalls that look like they're made of silk, rapids that have an interesting texture to them that you don't usually see with your eye, or even pictures of the sea that are silky smooth. Here's a link for you to a few pictures, tfttf.com/flowing water.
Okay. TFTTF stands for tips from the top floor.
Yes.
If that helps.
/flowing water. One word.
Okay.
The secret is in long exposures. That's what photographers do. They shoot sometimes pictures that they expose for 20, 30 seconds, and that will kind of average out the water, because the water comes into, the light of that water comes into the lens all over that time, all during that time, and depending on how long you choose the exposure time, you will get different effects. And it's, of course, when long exposures are involved, it's usually shooting from a tripod. So you want to do this you want to have the camera really steady. And then there are two ways to go about this. First is without any additional accessories. If you shoot early in the evening or late in the evening or early in the morning when it's not bright outside, you will be able to shoot with long exposure times and get away with it. During the day, that's a bit more difficult because your camera will tend to shoot very short exposures. And what a lot of professionals do to get these kind of pictures is they will use what's called an ND filter, a neutral density filter, which is pretty much like a pair of sunglasses for your camera. It takes the light away. There are different strengths of ND filters. Here's a tip: go to Wikipedia and look at the table. There's a table that kind of gives you the different names of them. There are different ways to name them. And what you can do is you can have multiple strengths, and if one is not enough, you can stack them on top of each other. So you can kind of add on to the existing ones. And this way, bring the exposure times down to, I don't know, when we're talking daytime, the sun is out, you're shooting, even at a low ISO, there's a good chance you will have thousandths of a second exposure time. If you use these ND filters, you will be able to, depending on the strength of them, to get exposure times into the seconds, which will give you a lot of these effects. And if you don't have to kind of hit it really exactly where you want it with the ND filter, because you still have the ISO and the aperture to play with to kind of do some fine tuning to what the ND filter gives you. And then here are the things that are interesting looked at long exposures. Clouds, for example. If you do very long exposures, the clouds will be moving, and all of a sudden you will see some smooth motion.
Oh, I would never have thought of that. I would just think you'd make a cloudy sky, like a full cloud sky. So
well, clouds always have a direction, so all of a sudden you will get some directionality in the sky, which can look really, really interesting. Other areas to try is if you're at a beach, for example, the water coming in and out. That's one of the reasons that my tripod is usually a bit crunchy when I move the legs, because there's sand in there, because I used to be standing on beaches with the tripod and some sand tends to get in there. You can, if you are in an environment where it's snowing and you don't want the snowflakes in there, long exposures will take care of that, because you will just average out the snow. The snow will not be visible anymore. I've taken shots in Iceland this way, where I exposed for 3, 4, 5 seconds, and then it ended up being slightly foggy because now you have all these bright things that are kind of averaged out. But something that looks very interesting, you get to show water splashes. Good starting point for short water splashes is in a quarter of a second up to a second of exposure time. If you want a medium blurred kind of water surface, a 10-second shot will be a good idea. And if you want to get really misty shots, 20 seconds up to several minutes is a good time for that. Now, that, of course, requires you to work with manual exposure, so it's a bit more of an advanced thing, but that's pretty much the secret of how the professionals get these silky smooth water surfaces.
It's a beautiful look, yeah. And the real trick, and it's nice because on a digital camera you can immediately see whether you've done it right or not. It's kind of like fireworks, is figuring out how long.
Yes.
Because it gives a different effect. Each, 5 seconds is different from 30.
You really have to try a quarter of a second. I mean, it's really interesting what you can get with a quarter of a second. A quarter of a second, 1 second might look very, very different. So really try the short ones, short in air quotes, a quarter of a second, 1 second, 5 seconds, and just look how they come out. And that's an area where you probably want to practice a bit. And then when you get to the next wonderful, beautiful beach, you have those tools in your toolbox, your creative toolbox, and you can get away with that.
One of the things that you do is, which I like, is you do shorter ones. So it doesn't even look like an effect. It looks like you just kind of, the water is kind of interesting looking. I'm looking at the slideshow at tf/what is it?
.com/flowing water.
/flowing water. Some really nice images, and it's a subtle use of the effect that doesn't call attention to itself, which was one of the reasons I like it.
If the water is far away, that will translate to very little motion. So in that case, you want longer exposure. If the water is really close, if you're standing in front of the waves coming in on a beach, that's where you can get away with a quarter of a second, 1 second. But if the water is far away, chances are you will want some longer exposure times.
And again, that's why a digital camera is great, because you can see what you're going to get. You can play with it and get
wonderful
some sense
playground.
of it. Yeah. Hey, we've got an assignment we do all the time going on. Chris gives us a word or a topic and invites us to take pictures illustrating that word or topic. Our current assignment is fly, F-L-Y. And if you take an image and you like it, tag it with the word fly and upload it to Flickr. That's the free photo sharing site, and our Tech Guy group on Flickr. And you may be selected as one of 3, I don't want to say winners, but 3 pictures that Chris will comment on in a couple of weeks. You'll find Chris and more of his work at discoverthetopfloor.com. Thanks, Chris.
Sure.
Take care. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Have a great trip to Greenland.
I will, and you have a great move.
Are you leaving next week, or?
I'm leaving on Sunday, actually, and we'll be back for the next show, which is...
you will be here for Sunday's show.
No, I won't. I will be flying. I will be in the air.
So we're pre-recorded those, and then in 4 weeks, you'll be back.
On the 18th, I will be back, as usual.
Awesome. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy, 8888. Ask Leo, the phone number. And George is on the line from Valencia, California. Hi, George.
Leo.
Hey.
Hey, thanks for taking my call.
Thanks for calling.
I bought a new Surface Book, Microsoft, and one of the reasons why I bought the Surface Book, I thought it'd be more consistent with Windows 10.
Right.
It's also a solid state. I bought the i7.
Yeah.
And maxed out to 16 gigs of RAM.
Ooh, you spent a lot of money on this.
I did, but you know what? I like it. It's fast. The problem that I have is I didn't know at the time is when I leave my computer unattended, like for 15 seconds, I have to sign in all over again with my password, and I don't want to have to do that. Is there a way for me to bypass that?
Yeah, there's a couple of things you can do. Of course, you can turn off password sign-in. I mean, that makes it less secure because anybody who walks by your computer can sit down at it and use it. But if it's in your home and there's no one you're worried about, then that's certainly a good solution.
So what would I do? Go to settings?
Yeah, go to settings. You can actually just hit Windows key and type users, and you can go right to the user accounts control panel and then change your login. But you also, by the way, there's other ways to do this.
Okay.
Because you can also go to the power settings and tell it not to go to sleep as fast or not to log out as fast. So there's a power and sleep settings control panel as well. Mine, for instance, I'm looking at mine right now. I have the same computer, by the way. Love it. On battery power, turn off after 5 minutes. You can make that 45 minutes. You can make that never. You can make it 5 hours if you want. When plugged in, turn off after, and you can make that longer. On battery power, PC goes to sleep after. That's probably the one you want to change.
I don't want to have to sign in with my password.
Well, you could just turn that. If you don't ever want to sign in with your password, you can have it log in without as well. Yeah.
So if I went to
user account settings, yeah.
Okay, I'm clicking as I'm talking to you, and I'm there now. It says manage my Microsoft account. Is that where I go to? Or sign in options?
Sign in options, I think. I'll have to look at it to make sure.
If I click on that, it says your PC's power settings are preventing some options from being shown. In terms of signing in, I'm looking.
You go to sign in options, okay?
I'm there.
Yeah. Oh, I see. Windows Hello. I got the same thing. It's preventing some options from being shown, and then the one you see, the first one. If you've been away, when should Windows require you to sign in again? That's the one you want to change to never.
It doesn't give me that option. It says 1 minute or every time.
Well, that's annoying.
You know what? It's driving me crazy, Leo.
Well, you can say I don't want it to make me sign in at all. The problem with that, of course, is that anybody could just open up your computer
I'm not concerned about that. How do I do that?
Well, you got me. I'll have to look around in here.
See, what I was told, Leo, is go to where your password is to change it and leave it blank. But as you probably know,
no, don't do that.
Allow you to
it wants to use your Windows account as a login, and you should keep doing that. Windows Hello. If you've been away, preventing some options from being shown. Sign in Windows apps and services. I'll have to dig around in here. As long as you understand that turning off password login, which is there's an option to say just go, I don't want to log in when I use it. It should just be ready to go. It just means that anybody can use it. But as long as you're at home and no one has access to your machine, I don't see anything wrong with that.
Right.
Yeah.
But now how do I do it?
Well, stay tuned because I'm going to have to ask the chat room to figure it out. I don't want to spend a lot of time digging through the control panel. I leave it. Here's what I do, and I kind of like this, and you could do this as well. It has the hello feature, will recognize your face, and I find it recognizes my face right away. You can also use a PIN, which is easy to type, just 1, 2, 3, 4. Both of those will be more secure than just saying just turn on whenever you want. Power options custom, is that right? I'll have to. You know what I'm going to have to do is go and sit down and look through it and find it. I like the hello feature because it just recognizes me, and so I don't have to actually do anything. I just have to wait a moment, literally a moment, and then it will unlock. But we will figure out a step-by-step, and if you can't keep listening, just go to the show notes at techguylabs.com, and we'll have it written down there. Do we have to use control user passwords too? Boy, I thought that was gone. Really? We have to do that, Cosmic Ray? Even on Windows 10? Wow. Nope. Control, this was the old trick. In previous versions of Windows, you would hit the Windows key and type control space user passwords 2, and you would get a hidden dialog box that would let you turn off the login. I don't think that works anymore on Windows 10. Let's see. Windows key R, control, user, passwords, 2. This was hidden because they didn't want anybody. Oh, it does. Well, some things just never change, do they? Isn't that special? So, I can't believe this funky workaround exists in Windows 10. I guess they don't want you to be able to do what you want to do. So how do you turn off the password requirement every time you log into Windows, you use Windows? You hit Windows key R. That opens up the run dialog, right? And you type this crazy magic incantation. Control space, that launches the control panel. Control space, and this is a special control panel that's not in the control panel. User passwords, plural, with the number 2 at the end, all one word. Control user passwords 2. Then you get the very special, no one knows about this except everybody, but we didn't want you to know about it, user accounts control panel. And right there at the top, there's a checkbox that says users must enter a username and password to use this computer. If you uncheck that, you will no longer need to enter a password to use the computer. I guess they don't want that to be there, that obvious. Why? So you won't accidentally turn it on? It's very strange. I did not realize this was still in Windows 10. That cracks me up. By the way, I hope you like your Surface Book. I think, when I first got it, I was very disappointed because Microsoft has all sorts of problems with it. This was Microsoft's first laptop. They made it after they made their couple of tablets, the Surfaces, the Surface RT, the Surface Pro. And the Surface Book was very unreliable for about 8 months. It wouldn't go to sleep. It would have what we call the hot bag problem. You'd close it, you'd put it in your bag, and then you'd take it out. It'd be really hot, and the battery would be drained because it didn't go to sleep. It had all sorts of weird issues. Microsoft over time has inch by inch fixed this, and now I have to say I'm very happy. It's very stable, very reliable. It's a nice Windows notebook. Not the cheapest by any means, but I think I can now recommend it. It is, and it has a detachable screen, so you get a tablet too if you want. That's the Surface Book from Microsoft. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. News is next. Crazy that you still have to do control user passwords too. That's just crazy. Our show today, that's crazy. Our show today brought to you by ZipRecruiter. I love ZipRecruiter, and you will too if you're the person in your company who has to hire. That's a tough job, isn't it? There's a heavy burden. You got to act fast. Oftentimes, you have to hire somebody at the worst time possible when you're shorthanded. There's a lot to do. We've been using ZipRecruiter, and we love it. ZipRecruiter makes it easy to find the right person, and that's really the job, is to get the right person. The right person can change everything and make your company a success. The wrong person could bring your company down. You don't want that. So go to ZipRecruiter.com/techguy and find out how they can help. First of all, they're going to help you reach out to more people. That's a good thing. The more people you hit, the more likely you're going to get that job listing in front of the one person who's perfect for it. You post to 100 plus job boards with one post to ZipRecruiter, plus social networks like Twitter and Facebook. Now you're going to say, but Leo, I don't want to post everywhere because I don't want to get millions of submissions. Well, yes, you do. You want to get the one, right? So here's the thing: they're not going to call you. They're not going to flood your inbox. It all goes into the ZipRecruiter interface, which makes it really easy. You can actually create a screening questionnaire with real-world questions, free form or multiple choice or yes/no formats. So that'll help you screen out the candidates you don't want, narrow it down very quickly, and hire the right person fast. Screen them, rate them, and hire the right person fast. That's the key to the ZipRecruiter interface. In fact, the minute you post on ZipRecruiter, they're matching you up to 6 million current resumes in their own database. So you're going to start getting applicants right away. Over 800,000 businesses have used ZipRecruiter. 125 million candidate applications delivered. The right person awaits if you know how to reach them. Do it free right now at ZipRecruiter.com/techguy. ZipRecruiter.com/techguy. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smart watches, virtual reality helmets. Virtual reality. I think I made up a new name. Virtual reality. Augmented reality. Electric cars. 8888 Ask Leo. If it's got a chip in it, if it's digital technology, yeah, we like to talk about it here. 888-827-5536. Give me a jingle. I'd love to help. You can also visit our website, techguylabs.com. We put show notes there with solutions and tips and tricks, ways to turn off your Windows login. And that's a surprisingly obscure method. We talked about it last hour. Ways to keep bad guys from taking over your Facebook account. Simply by installing an antivirus. What? 888-827-5536, techguylabs.com. Let's go back to the phones. And Robert in Las Vegas is next. Hi, Robert.
Hey, Leo. Thanks for taking my call.
Thanks for calling. What can I do for you?
I got a problem. I upgraded my cable modem to a DOCSIS 3.0, and now I'm having random disconnects. And when I check on my Apple AirPort Extreme, it says that I have a double net.
All right.
Switch it to a bridge mode, but when I do that, I have no internet after that, so I don't know.
So you replaced your existing cable modem with another cable modem?
Yes, because they told me that I have the old DOCSIS 2.0.
Yeah, you want to use the current standard, which is DOCSIS, DOCSIS 3. So that was right. And in fact, I think it's often a better idea to buy your cable modem, if your company will let you, Because otherwise you rent theirs. Theirs may not be the best in the world, and you're paying, a lot of money. Usually if you buy one, they're $60. You'll end up paying for itself after a year. So what one did you replace? First of all, who's your cable company?
Cox Communications.
And you use a cable modem that's on their approved list, I assume.
Yes. I had an old Motorola, switched it to a Netgear.
Okay.
But I've been having this.
Now, the Netgear you bought, does it have a router in it?
No.
You sure?
Yes.
Okay, because Netgear does make cable modems that are standalone, but it also makes them with routers. And if it had a router, that would explain double NAT, because the router would be routing on the cable modem and your Airport Extreme would be routing. You can't have what they call double NAT unless you have two routers both trying to assign network addresses.
No, I checked on it. I checked the settings.
What's the model number, or what Netgear did you put in there? Do you know?
It's a CM400. That's the model number.
Okay.
It just says cable modem. That's all it is.
Yeah, interesting. It's a router. So it's routing. I think it's routing. That'd be my guess. I mean, that's what the Apple's telling you, is that somebody is routing at the same time as I am. And so what you want to do is go in the settings, if you can, for the CM400 and make sure it's not doing routing. Otherwise, there's no other way you'd have double NAT. Do you have any other routers on the network?
No.
Just the
Airport Extreme is the only one.
So your whole setup is the Netgear CM400 attached to the cable in the wall, an Ethernet cable coming out of the Netgear into your Airport Extreme broadcasting Wi-Fi, and that's it?
Yes.
Wow. So NAT stands for Network Address Translation. And what it is it's a critical part of routing. It says you're going to have one internet address. Cox gives you one and only one. It's not even guaranteed that it won't change. That's your, at least for today, your internet address. But you have many machines in there. So what a router does is it says, all right, well, I'm going to create a private network. Usually it's 192.168.1. something. And everything will be on that private network, and I will route traffic. That's what a router means. I will send the traffic all coming into the same place. I will send it to whoever is in the middle of that conversation. That's routing, or network address translation. Sometimes it's conflated with DHCP, the Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol, which tells the computer, here's your address. Use that in your settings. But they're both done by the airport. So if the airport is doing it, and it says there's double NAT, then I think that the CM400 has to be doing NAT as well, unless Cox does it. Now, this sometimes happens. Actually, this is probably what's going on. Your cable company may also be doing it, which is weird because they really shouldn't be. Let me look at the CM400 and make sure it doesn't.
I looked on the at the bottom of the modem, and it just only says cable modem. Doesn't say routing or anything.
Yeah. No NAT. Yeah, and it doesn't look like it, does it?
Nope.
Well, you got me. I don't. I think this is one for Cox. I'm puzzled. Maybe one of your machines, this would be very bad, is also turned on routing, has decided I'm going to be the router. Usually that means something bad is going on in that machine. So you check your network settings on your individual machines. You can't put the airport into bridge mode. As you noted, it has to be a router or nothing will be able to get online. Bridge mode means don't do any routing, just pass it along. Your cable modem is effectively in bridge mode. It's not doing any routing. I think one of your PCs, one of your computers on the network is not in, is configured wrong. Does it have internet connection sharing turned on or something like that? That's odd.
Yeah, that's odd because practically I have everything wireless.
Yeah, I would look at the setups on all your machines. Make sure that your network setting is just completely normal. The machine is doesn't have a static address, that it's using DHCP to get an address from the airport. Some of this is puzzling. Networking is no human should have to do this except an IT professional. It's a black art, to be honest with you. It's a real challenge. Now I'm looking.
You think I should call Cox?
Yeah, I would ask Cox.
Maybe.
Yeah, this may be a case where they say, "Well, you got your own modem now. You have to support it. You've powered down both the cable modem and the airport, and it's tried it again, right? Sometimes when you put a new,
I done it before, but the modem all of a sudden just disconnects. It reboots itself. Got a lost connection, and the modem goes through the cycle and the power on cycling, and it just connects, and it's fine until it decides to do it again, and it just disconnects again. All of a sudden.
So there's some complicated things you can do with pinging and trace route and so forth to see what's going on. I'm really not going to walk through that here. IP config and things like that. Command line magic. But I just don't know. Where to begin for this one. I'm afraid I'm not going to be much help. You might also call Netgear support. The cable modem is just a gateway. It's not. Something is confused in the setups. That's all I can say, and I can't without actually sitting down at the network. No, and a network expert would go in there and run some software, do some examination of how your network's set up, and should be able to figure that out pretty quickly. Boy, it's beyond me. Sorry. 8888 Ask Leo if you've got a suggestion, or you can go to the website, techguylabs.com. Comment there. It's always helpful. We really appreciate that. No sign up. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Really, do cable modems have kind of hidden routers in them? That's what it sounds like, doesn't it? Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy, 8888. Ask Leo. That's the phone number. Lamarty, Baltimore, Maryland. Hi, Lamarty.
Oh, no, it's Bellflower, California. It doesn't matter.
Well, it's close. I don't know why it says Baltimore. Bellflower, California. Hello, Lamarty.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
My head is... Well, okay. Good afternoon,
Whatever. We're all confused here.
Well, I'm confused from the last 2 hours since I called in. My head is swimming from everything you've been talking about. Besides favorite Steve Martin joke, you got to get a.
We got very geeky. Didn't we? I apologize.
Well, that's okay, but you scared the pants off me. Now you convinced me to get a what do you call it? A cloud book?
A Chromebook. Yeah, you'll love the Chromebook. Yeah.
Well, I didn't before. I forgot her name now. The young lady had her problems
with Rose. Yeah, poor Rose.
Yeah, that's scared anyway.
Yeah.
Getting back to the reason I called, for the last 2.5, 3 weeks, I've been waiting to hear what you think about the Note 7. By the way, whatever happened to Note 6?
They skipped it. The Note 6 and Windows 9 are off on an island having a torrid affair. They disappeared. There's no Windows 9 and there's no Note 6. It's the new thing. Watch, Apple will introduce the iPhone 8 next time, and it'll be very confusing. I think the reason is the Samsung gives is that, well, we have the Galaxy S7, so we thought we'd get everything in the same numeric sequence. So you have a Note 7 and an S7, and then next year the Note 8 will come out, and then you'll have, like that. In any event, the reason I haven't talked about it, I ordered it, but it's in fact, I was very excited this morning. I got the shipping notice, so I'll probably get it. They were saying it would be arriving on the 18th or the 19th. I think I'll be getting it tomorrow or the next day. So I will fully have a review for you next weekend for sure.
Well, I was so excited because 3 weeks ago, my carrier Sprint sent me an invitation to place an order on one, and they started talking about some of the features. And you were the one to convince me to get the Note 4, my first Note.
How did you? And you like that phone? I guess I take it you do.
Well, it's actually really only been my second or third smartphone. By the way, my first smartphone was a ZTE, so they've been around a while.
Wow.
Yeah. But you convinced me to get the Note 4, and even though I really don't know how to use it fully, I love the thing, and I was looking forward to getting the Note 5 until I found out it didn't have a memory card. And since that point in time when they introduced the Note 5, I've been calling up Samsung once a month complaining about that. And
they listened. They listened.
And now the Note 7 has a memory card. Cool.
You know what? We all have Lamarty in Bellflower to thank. Because if it weren't for you, Lamarty, I think we would have no SD card.
Okay, yeah, but the thing is, now we all need to start calling them and complain and tell them to make a change for the Note 8.
Why? What's wrong with the Note 7?
The Note 7, they're changing the power plug.
Yeah, well, that's I know it's a pain, but that's a good thing. They're going to the Type-C connector. Everybody in the next 2 years will go to Type-C except Apple. And
Type-C being an oval, complete oval?
Yeah, and the reason it's better for a number of reasons. The most obvious reason is you can't put it in wrong. So micro USB really had a problem with that. It was easy to screw up your port by trying to jam it in upside down. You can't do it wrong with Type-C. It goes in either way. But more than that, it's a much more powerful. It's USB 3.1. It is much more powerful. There's a lot more you can do with it. This is the future of connectors. And, I agree. It's a challenge because you have to get new cables.
Yeah. Well, but the funny thing was, if you want to show a quick funny story, because I plumbed around on YouTube and found the I guess the CEO or whoever, what do you call it, the introduction to the Note 7 to a big auditorium of people, and it came to that point where telling about the new power plug, and he goes, by the way, for those of you the old power with old power cords, don't worry, we're including an adapter,
which is very nice of them. Yeah, Apple didn't do that when they went to the Lightning port.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then he goes on, and there's one. It's funny. At least I thought it was. He goes on, and there's one other thing we're including with every Note 7. An audio plug.
Yeah, and that's because Apple, and this is going to be very controversial when this happens in a couple of weeks, is apparently not going to have an audio jack on their next phone, the iPhone, whatever they call it, 7. They're not going to do that. Now, by the way, you could, with a Type-C connector, eliminate the audio jack as well. But I think that's a really valuable port. I want an audio jack on my phone.
Exactly. Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
The Note 7 has some nice new features, and like I said, I'll have a full review next week when I get mine. But it's no longer. It used to be the whole reason you get a Note is because it's the biggest phone out there. Not the case anymore. It's just normal size because every other phone. The Note was such a success. It was a huge success that people said, "Oh, people want big screens." Even Apple put out a big screen. So I credit the Note with moving, and the reason is this is your personal computer. This isn't just a phone. This is your device to connect to the internet, to do email. And you want a big screen. You don't want too big. And I think we've figured out that somewhere between 5 and 5.7 inches for most people is just right. And then there are some people who want a 4.5 or 5-inch phone, and that's a market too. But those two markets, that's pretty much it. We know what size phones should be now. They're also going to add a iris scanner. They're still going to have the fingerprint reader, but they're going to add an iris scanner, which the jury's still out. I don't know how good that will be. I've seen them before, and they're not useful, but maybe Samsung has figured out how to make it useful. But I commend them for moving forward into the future with Type-C. Every phone you get starting, probably around now, from now on, all the phones except Apple will have Type-C connectors. That's the future.
Well, it's going to be kind of frustrating for me because I got dozens of power cords lying everywhere.
Well, here's the good news. Most of those power cords are connected via USB to the plug. They're not hardwired into the plug. So all you need to do is get a new cord. They're cheap. You go online. My recommendation, if you're buying Type-C cords, actually, I'll put a couple of links in the show notes to the ones I use and recommend, because there are some Type-C cords that are not properly made. And there's an engineer at Google, Benson Leong, who has taken it on himself, and I love this, to test all the USB, the old USB to new Type-C cords to make sure they're compliant and not dangerous. And he reviews them on Amazon. And Amazon, after a while, finally said, we're not going to sell any non-compliant cords. So if you buy it on Amazon, and a Type-C cable will be fine. You can buy a dozen of them for $20. Replace all your old ones. I'm telling you, it's a better cable. It's a much better cable. You'll be happy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. Questions, comments, suggestions, they are more than welcome at that number. Love hearing from you. And don't forget, after the show, and that's going to be about half an hour from now, the conversation goes on the website, techguylabs.com. That's free. There's no sign up. And all the questions, all my answers, and your answers too, if you've got thoughts about it, are there. techguylabs.com. CC is next in Fullerton, California. Hi, CC.
Hey, how you doing today?
I am well. How are you?
I am doing good. You come with my mouth full, but that's okay.
Okay. You often catch me with my mouth full, so it's fair.
That's good. Mine was ham and cheese.
Oh, yum. I'm just eating a salad. That's boring, but that's all my doctor will let me eat.
Get a better doctor.
Doc, I want to eat ham and cheese.
There you go.
I love ham and cheese. What can I do for you?
Well, I'm a retired guy, and I got into this YouTube videos, watching movies.
Yeah.
And everything was going along swell. And then I started getting messages to watch this video, watch that video. And they're all coming in on HTML5.
Yeah.
And Apple machine, and when I try to do it, I can't figure out how to get HTML5 video.
I don't blame you. What the heck is that? So it's HTML5 is just the internet. It's just the web. You use a browser, any browser, Safari, Chrome, Opera will render HTML5 video. So here's the deal. Remember Flash?
Yes.
Yes. The late, not lamented Flash. The end of the line came. If you wanted to watch video on a browser, generally speaking, the browser would launch the Flash plugin on the browser, and then it would play the video. And the video could be in a variety of different formats. Flash is just a wrapper that lets you play a variety of different video formats. The end began when Apple released the iPhone, and then later the iPad, and announced we aren't going to support Flash. If you want video to play for people who are on an iPhone or an iPad, you better not use Flash on your website. And so that meant people had to use some other form of streaming. And really, it's just streaming that the browser will play back without a Flash plugin. We call it HTML5. It's not really quite accurate. What it means is that the browser has built in the capability of playing back certain video formats without the help of Flash. And that means HTML5. So if you go to YouTube, for instance, when YouTube was all Flash, Google agreed that Flash was a bad idea and started converting over its videos so that you wouldn't need Flash to play it back. You could just play it back in a plain old browser. You could even kind of try that ahead of time by going to youtube.com/HTML5, and people did that, and they were able to play Flash. At this point, Google has converted everything. It's all HTML5. So anytime you use your browser and you watch something on YouTube, you're watching video that's HTML5. It's just video that comes in and your browser can play it. You don't need to know more than that. So if somebody sends you a file, are they sending you files?
It's just like, if you want to watch it'll be like a news spot.
Yeah, well, and it's a link, right? And you click the link, and your browser plays it.
No, it says you got to have HTML5.
Oh, I see. You're getting a warning.
Right.
Ah. So what computer are you using?
I'm using an Apple, and it's up to date. It's El Capitan.
And you use Safari for your browser?
I'm using Safari, and it's up to date. But I noticed on the player that I bought from Apple, I have choices of Safari, Firefox, Chrome, Opera.
Well, Chrome will do it for sure. I thought Safari would do it just fine.
No, I mean, it just tells me to do all kinds of weird stuff.
No, you shouldn't have to do anything because HTML5 is designed for, basically all it's saying is you need a modern browser. And Safari is one of them. Can you go to YouTube? When you go to YouTube, can you watch videos on Safari when YouTube? Of course you can.
Yes.
It's not Flash. That's HTML5.
I can watch Roy Rogers.
Yay! And his horse Trigger.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, you can always tell if something is Flash or HTML5 if you right-click on the video. So I'm watching some Olympic race here on the NBC YouTube channel, and I right-click on the video, and it says at the bottom about the HTML5 player. If you right-click on it and it's Flash, it'll give you some information about Flash. So, but HTML5 doesn't really mean anything. It means a modern browser. So I think there's other issues with that video that you're trying to play. You should, somebody's suggesting maybe you've installed a player and that's set as your default player for video, and it's trying to play it through that player. Whatever it is, Safari should be able to play it without any help, as should Chrome. Why don't you download Chrome and try that? Chrome.com. What player did you buy, just out of curiosity?
It was the Apple, and it just says the identification.
QuickTime.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't need QuickTime. God, I wonder, I guess, yeah, if QuickTime's trying to play it, it's going to have a problem because it's HTML5. It just plays it in the browser without any help. It's more modern than QuickTime is, alas. So,
try Chrome.
Yeah, try Chrome will absolutely work. I'm not sure why your Safari's not working. Maybe it's not updated. What you could do is go to the Safari menu and go to add-ons, okay? And see what add-ons you have on there and disable, I would say disable all the add-ons unless you know that you need them. Because it sounds like you have an add-on installed that's trying to play the video and the site's saying, well, what's that? I don't... or I don't know, something's complaining. Or you're going to a bad site that wants you to install something. Does it offer to, hey, we could fix this, just install this software?
No, not at all.
Good. Don't ever do that. You know better than that. Yeah. I don't know what's going on, but you shouldn't have any problem. HTML5 isn't really a very good name for what this is. It's a bunch of different stuff, all of which are designed to make it possible to play video without any extensions in the browser. So turn off your browser extensions, and then everything should be fine. QuickTime may be getting in the way. That may be it. We'll take a break. One more segment to come. I've got a few calls left. We will get to those, answer your questions, and wrap things up on the Tech Guy. Thanks so much to our musical director, Nathan Staten. He's great playing the hits for you. And the phone ranger herself, Heather Hammond, on the phones. One more break coming up. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. So Safari supports HTML5. I don't know. Something's getting in the way. That's got to be it. Something's getting in the way. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy, 8888. Ask Leo. That's the phone number. 888-827-5536. Keep it for later. I guess we're probably full for the rest of the show, but keep it for later. You'll want it next time you have trouble. And mainly through the week, techguylabs.com, because that's up 24/7. It's free. There's no sign up, and there's answers to your questions there. I promise you. Vidak in Sacramento. Hi, Vidak. Am I saying that right? Vidak?
Vidak. Hi, Leo.
Hi, Vidak.
How you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm very good. I'm a little nervous since this is my first official appearance on U.S. national air, but I'm okay.
That's great. Congratulations. Where are you from?
I am originally from Montenegro. That's ex-Yugoslavia.
I have been to Montenegro. It's beautiful. We sailed through the Bay of Kotor. It was gorgeous.
Actually, you were about, let's see, a half hour away from me there.
Gorgeous. Beautiful
I live in
place.
a little town called Herceg-Novi. That's about 20 minutes from Kotor.
Oh, so lovely. Well, I can't say I know your country well, but I have been there, and that's something. And we welcome you to the United States. It's great to have you. Are you a student? What are you doing?
Yes, I'm an international student here at a local college, community college in Sacramento.
Your English is excellent, by the way.
Thank you. I've been here a couple of times, and I pick up languages really easily.
I guess so. You sound like really sound like a native speaker. That's great.
Thank you. Here's the thing. I've been listening to your show for years, and I eventually got inspired to do radio myself.
Oh, good.
And I had a radio show back in Montenegro, and I thought, well, let's learn something more about this. And then I came to the States and signed up for a radio and television production program.
Great.
At the school.
Great.
Here's the thing. I am a little disabled. I have a low vision problem. So the school I go to lets me record the lectures. And I need a digital voice recorder that's just going to sit on my desk and while the teacher speaks, record the lecture so I can reference it later.
How close can you get to the teacher?
Don't know. I've never been to U.S. colleges.
Would they let you put it on the podium where the teacher is?
I guess I could ask the teacher.
Yeah. I think
know.
that would be an accommodation that they would be glad to do.
Yeah.
Given your disability, I think that they would say, yeah, absolutely. They want to encourage you to use whatever tools you need.
Yes. It looks that way, certainly.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. I went into Best Buy and got myself a Olympus WS-85-3 digital voice recorder, which the best person at Best Buy recommended.
Yeah, those are kind of very common digital voice recorders. They're little, they're inexpensive, so what do you think?
Well, it's terrible. I'm sorry to say it's terrible.
You get what you pay for. That under $100, and the main reason is the microphones.
Yes, it's hissing, it's humming.
Yeah.
I can manage the noise reduction with like a software that can reduce it, but the sound sounds like I'm recording out of a trash can.
Yeah.
It's very echoey.
So I'll tell you what podcasters use, and a lot of radio people use.
Okay.
It's from they're products from a company called Zoom, ZOOM.
Okay.
And the website, I don't know why, is zoom-na.com. I guess that's North America.
Okay.
Zoom-na.com. And they make a large variety of recorders. And what their specialty is, really, the only thing that's important on a digital recorder is the microphone.
Correct.
Right? The technology is just a little chip. They're all probably using the same chips. It's the microphone. So Zoom really specializes in making recorders with excellent microphones. You could put a microphone on your smartphone and get the same effect.
I guess so. I don't know what the teacher's reaction would be to me recording on a smartphone, but I guess. But I want to make it as simple as it gets.
Yeah.
For me,
so a standalone recorder is great. I mean,
yeah.
It's up to you. Zoom does sell their special capsule microphones, both for the microphone and on a standalone recorder like the H1. They're a little more expensive. They're probably twice as much as that Olympus was because you're paying for a good microphone. You may find them used or refurbished at a better price. But what's great about these is they have really excellent microphones on them that often can be used in an environment even when you're distant from the professor. They'll work better the closer you can get.
Yes, like any microphone.
Like any microphone, right. If I sit 12 feet away from my microphone, you're going to get a lot of room noise and all that stuff. If I can get closer to it, I'm going to sound better. And that's the same exactly the same in the classroom. So these things are small enough. In fact, really, this is an advantage over a smartphone. You wouldn't want to put your smartphone on the podium, but you wouldn't mind putting a small recorder on the podium. I know the professor will let you do that. The only issue is that professors often move around a lot, but that's fine because when he's standing at the podium, you'll get good recording, and when he's not, you'll still get decent recording. So I would take a look at the Zoom. The H1 is excellent. The H2 is excellent. We've used these for years, not just for voice recording, but for field recording. For podcasts, I've used them. They're excellent. You could use it on the radio.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Thanks. Do you have time for one little more question?
I do, if you hang on for a second so I can do a commercial. What language do you speak in Montenegro?
Serbian, or now it's Montenegrin. Montenegro separated from Serbia.
Right. So you don't like to call it Serbian?
Well, the government...
well, it's Montenegrin, of course. It's Montenegrin. Yeah. It's our own.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful land. And if you ever get to sail to the Bay of Kotor, I did it on a cruise. Just stunning. Oh, man, was that gorgeous. Beautiful. All right, Vidak, what else can I do for you?
I have a question based on your experience in radio. I have my low vision problem is basically I have nystagmus, which is just a fancy medical term for uncontrolled eye movement.
Yes.
And I usually avoid reading on air because I can't control it when it happens, and when it does, I slow down immensely while reading. And the previously, how I was able to compensate for that is I had a co-host do the reading, and I would do the talking off the top of my head. How does that worked in Montenegro? How does that work? Would that work in the U.S. on a radio station?
Yeah, so you usually have to read. I don't do much reading. I, as you can probably tell, talk off of the top of my head almost the whole time. But occasionally you have to read. You would have to, but you always get what you have to read ahead of time. So you would have the leisure to look at the ad copy or the liners or whatever they wanted you to read ahead of time and memorize it, or at least get it well enough so that you'd be able to read it fluently on the air. But yeah, reading is a little bit of the job. But again, you're never going to get, you're rarely going to get surprised unless somebody hands you an emergency bulletin. So I wouldn't worry about that. If you're a DJ, you do very little reading. If you're a newscaster, that's another matter.
Well, I did like a morning show type of thing, but we had people that did the news.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Hey, I would keep it up. I think you got the right idea. Good luck with your career. Good luck with your studies. Thanks for joining us in this country. We can use the brains. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy.
Thank you. Bye.
Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. Thank you so much for being here. And don't forget, it's just the tip of the iceberg. We do nearly 30 shows on the Netcast network. It's called TWIT, T-W-I-T. It stands for This Week in Tech, and you'll find it at twit.tv, including the podcasts for this show. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on Mac Break Weekly, iPads, iPhones, Apple Watches on iOS Today, security on Security Now. I mean, I can go on and on and on. You even get your daily dose of tech news with Tech News Today. And, of course, the big show every Sunday afternoon, This Week in Tech. You'll find it all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next week with another great Tech Guys show. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time.